Hello and welcome to Croissants, your daily live podcast show from the Paris 2024 Olympics. I'm your host, Vanessa Lee, and again, I'm joined with two special guests. Emile, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, yeah.
And of course, Simon, good to see you again.
Thank you. My voice is just lasting the week.
Perfect. So we had a really exciting day yesterday with the women's individual final, and really dramatic as well. There was so much emotion, and someone was crowned the Olympic champion. So, Emile, what was your feeling about yesterday?
Oh, my feeling was that I think Lim did a great job in winning her third gold medal. So she kind of did the same as Ansan did 3 years ago. But I was especially pleased with Lisa Barbelin because she works the crowd so much, and she's so emotional and so emotionally vested in the games that, well, she's a pleasure to watch, and every time she steps on the line, she's there to just give it her all, and then just let her emotions run free. And I think that's what sport needs, and that's what archery needs.
Yeah. So Korea did win yet another medal. Lim won gold, Nam Soo-hyun won silver, but the big story really was Lisa Barbelin, and she almost didn't even make it, right, Simon? She was almost about to lose her match against Choi Runisa from Indonesia.
Yeah, that's right. So I think she'd shot her last arrow already and was off the line sort of, Joe Vanessa only had to shoot an 8. And, so that looked like that was the end of her run. And then she started to creep on the clicker and then flinch. Yeah. And the clock was ticking down. I think she flinched about 3 times and then finally shot, and it was a 5. Oh. Bang, out. I mean, surely that's going to haunt her for forever.
Yeah.
What a terrible thing too for her. But a great joy for France because it meant that one of their shooters was through to the finals.
Yeah, for sure. What happens in a moment like that when you just need an 8? What needs to go in an archer's mind in order to successfully do that? But what kind of thoughts creep in at that moment?
What should go through your mind is nothing. That's the best. If nothing goes through your mind and you can just make your most normal shot like you do thousands of times a week, it will always land in the 8. It will probably land in the 10 or even in the 9, but always in the 8. So the best thing that can go through your mind is nothing. Well, I don't know what went through her mind. You can never tell. You should ask her, but there must be some what if thoughts. What if I shoot this 8? What if I don't? What if? And that's always a mental strain on you, and then things like this can happen.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a gold for Lisa, but it certainly felt like that, right? Yeah. And on home soil. So, Simon, what does that feel like?
I think it'd be one of those things that's hard to describe. And looking at her, I'm sure she would concur. Overwhelming, obviously, and I think she was overwhelmed, wasn't she? I mean, there's a photo series that I was looking at this morning of her reactions, about 8 photos in a row, and every one of them, you could see the wave of realization, and just a reflexive reaction to it. Where she was holding her mouth and just unbelievable. I mean, a fairy tale really for her, isn't it?
Yeah.
All that work, and being in the home team and knowing that people want a home team result, that's a lot of pressure. Of pressure. I mean, we talked about how much pressure there was on the Koreans defending, their run of 10 team medals, but for the whole of your country's media to be not just following and expecting, but judging too, because of all the money that they spend on preparing for the Olympics and the home team. There's a big crowd of critics as well as supporters waiting to see what happens, and so to get the result they got, gold star. Yeah.
And knowing that her team match and the mixed team match didn't go according to plan, so it was her third and final chance to make the best of these Olympic Games. So because they went out early in the team rounds and early in the mixed team rounds, so this was her final shot at eternal glory in France. So
true.
So good for her that she actually made it.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Lisa Barbalet, I'm just hearing that Thomas Giroux of France as well is up 2-0 against Mete Gazos. Big match. We're talking about a bracket that has some of the biggest favorites here. Not only them, it's Kim Woo-jin, it's Marcus D'Almeida, world ranked number 1 right now. It's going to be exciting. Yeah. We'll get into that in a little bit, but Lisa, talking about her emotions, she did say after her matches that she's a very emotional person. In contrast, you have Lim Shi-hyun and Nam Soo-hyun who barely showed any emotion. I mean, Lim Shi-hyun had just won an Olympic gold medal, her 3rd, and barely cracked a smile. So what is that about? And is either way right?
Well, I think for sports in general, because sports is there to entertain, I think. I like the emotions because I think that's what the crowd is coming for. But yeah, I don't really know, and maybe Simon knows, like the Koreans, how they experience their wins and what is expected of them. Maybe it's within Korea, it's not allowed to show that much emotion if they win. I don't know the Korean culture enough for that, but maybe Simon or but I like to see I really like to see the emotions because I think that's what sport is all about.
Yeah, I would have guessed that. Yeah, having to be humble is part of the expectation, and just not practiced in not being humble, I guess.
Yeah. It certainly is, but I think what complicated that was that she was shooting against her own teammate in the end.
That's right. Yeah.
It brings me back to 2004 when Park Sung-hyun was shooting against her own teammate Lee Sung-jin in the finals, individual finals. There was some emotion. I remember she threw her head back and was kind of like this because she was overwhelmed with the emotion. But then it quickly turned into, we're representing our country right now. We're not fighting against each other.
And some compassion for your
teammate
too.
Yeah, because they had just lost an Olympic gold medal. So today, though, is a huge day. It is the final day of competition here at the Paris 2024 Olympics for archery. Some huge, huge names. Let's talk about that.
It's going to be hard to pick, isn't it? I mean, the subject keeps coming up. Who's good for today? Someone asked me that yesterday. We're having a long chat about it, and we all agreed that you can't pick it. It's so tight.
It's so hard.
There's so many big names in that list of 16 there. And maybe, as many big names in the final list as we've seen, it's pretty common that they go out throughout the event and you end up with a couple of big names and then some newcomers. Yeah, there's still, so Shiro, Gazos, Lee, Wang, Nespoli, D'Almeida, Kim, Ellison, Larson rather, Unro, just all.
Baptiste. Don't count him out as with the French
new favourites.
I'm just hearing that Shiro is up 5-1 now against Mete Gazos, reigning Olympic champion. It's a tough one.
If that turns around, that'll be amazing. So tough to come back and defend.
Yeah,
there's a reason we don't get defending champions winning. It's tough.
So do you think having won an Olympic medal already at these Olympics or even previous Olympics is an advantage? I'm talking about Brady right now. He just won bronze with KC for the mixed team. And he's just waiting. This is pretty much the last thing he's waiting for. It's his 5th Olympics. Do you think he can do it?
I think he definitely can. Yeah, he's on even with the list we're going through now, he's on the less heavy side of the bracket. Yeah. So he definitely has a great opportunity to reach last 4. And if you reach last 4, then anybody can win from the last 4. So Brady can beat everybody on that list, and he probably has beaten everybody on that list if he shot against them. So I gave him a good shot, and he's in great he's in decent shape, and he's in good shape, and we know Brady as somebody who is a fighter. So if it's necessary, he can up the pace a little bit and just go on to his next level of shooting and shoot some really good 10s. So I think he's definitely one of the top favorites within this list of 16 athletes. Yeah.
Also, I was talking to the US coach, Chris, yesterday, and we were talking about Brady, and he said they've done a little bit of a tweak with his technique since the last World Cup. So, we know that Brady's been slightly off the pace this year compared to previous years. Still competitive, but a little bit down for him. And they were playing around with draw length and tweaked that a little bit, and they feel like it's back on song now and feeling good about it. So, the timing might just be right for that. I mean, the fact that we're not haven't been expecting him to be as good as he has been previous seasons based on the previous events before the tweak. So there's the potential now that, things will peak and he'll be back on song just in the nick of time.
Yeah. His energy has been different from previous years, and he has been so on form, in Tokyo. He had nearly like a perfect season. But this year we haven't seen him really at the top of the podium. Also, when I first saw him stepping onto the field, even though it was his 5th Olympics, he almost seemed like a slightly more tired old dog. I hope he's not watching this. But he was just kind of here and, happy to be here, very much so. But didn't seem like he was just gunning for it. I almost feel like that could be an advantage.
I think it definitely can, and certainly in the lead up to it. But we also know that Brady has that capacity to switch on in terms of emotion and going for it too. The raw, he could definitely at the 11th hour focus in and really go for it.
100%.
So so he's a big dark horse there, I think. Nespoli, we know, can hang in there and
sorry, Eminem?
Cannon of a bow.
Yeah, he's just been called Eminem these days.
Look, I'm glad I'm not having to put money on it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Baptiste as well. So he's really become a crowd favorite. Such a young kid at 17, and when he steps onto the shooting line, you almost forget how young he is because he just looks like he's so calm and composed. Do you think he's another favorite for you?
For me, he's one of the favorites because I think his young age will work in his advantage because he's very energetic. He has nothing to lose because he is 17 and
with the crowd there.
And with the crowd, yeah. So you never rule him out because I think he did great in the team matches. So he's in good form and he's just so good for his young age. So definitely one of the favorites for me.
What do you think it would mean for his career going forward? Because we often see a young guy winning, and then you never hear from them again, right? Luckily,
not necessarily a good thing in terms of headspace. I think for longevity. I know my World Champs win was at 21, only a few years after coming to the circuit, and I struggled with that. So, I think it's easier if you've had half a dozen years of building to that position to be able to deal with it. Too soon, too fast is a challenge to come back from.
One of the few people who have really embraced that young win is Mike Schlusser, right? World champion.
He just didn't stop, did he?
No. And we had world champions right before him, and then we just kind of didn't really see them, at least in the World Cup circuit or world championships for World Archery. But he was really able to embrace it. So it can kind of go either way, can it?
It can, yeah.
Yeah. But I do wonder what kind of mental, state or what kind of skills you need to be able to do that.
I think it has to do with the skills you naturally possess, but also with the guidance you get from your country or from your coaches or from how people can keep you with 2 feet on the ground and just have don't build up the expectations too much. If you win at young age, it's not expected to keep winning. So I think
I wonder whether too with the Olympic division, there's more media scrutiny that goes with the result then. So the scrutiny from within the sport's one thing, but when you have the media machine from outside the sport weighing in, that's when the sort of maybe the negative pressure comes in I think that it's positive interest from within the sport normally, but you know that comment about the balancing the critics and whether it's worth the money and all that kind of expectation type stuff from outside of the sport that weighs in with the Olympic results. I think that's where it really gets hard.
So here's an update on the match. They're going to a shoot-off.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're going to a shoot-off. So we'll see what happens. Personally, for me, when it comes to success at such a young age, I think it comes down to their purpose. Is it goal-oriented, or is it because we love this sport and you want to be in it? Is it about the process? And so if a young archer truly loves this and they are all about, seeing how far they can get, and it's not just about winning that gold medal, that's going to create longevity. But Simon, you're talking about pressure as well. Have you ever felt that kind of pressure and media scrutiny?
Yeah, before the Sydney Games particularly. And like the pressure just wound up and up and up through our preparation. Ironically, it actually made it perhaps a little easier when we actually got to the games, because I always find that the worst effect of pressure is when you're feeling completely calm right up until the buzzer goes. Ooh. And now the match starts. And it doesn't have to be like level 10 pressure, but if it's say it's like level 6, like it's a national championships or something like that, but you're going from 1 or 0, like you're completely calm, to 6. Yeah. The difference in feeling is what is overwhelming, versus I feel like going for Sydney, it was the pressure and anxiety was already there at like level 8 for months, and it was just going from 8 to 9. Yeah. So it wasn't such a shock, and I was prepared for it, and it didn't distract me as much as the sort of the national championships pressure does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Gazos is through.
No way. From 5-1 down.
Do you know what he shot? A voice in my head. Can you please tell me? We'll find out in a bit. But oh my God, being down 5-1, I thought he was out.
Yeah.
Very curious on the set scores. If Gazos did what Peters did a couple days ago, shooting 7 10s in a row to win that match, or if Shiro wasn't able to maybe keep his composure and flinch a little bit.
Remembering, having not been able to watch it, remembering of course that there's the crowd factor there too. Like imagine the noise that must have been there heading into those last couple of hours.
Yeah, I guess we have to head to the field a little bit. But actually, speaking about Eric, he's such a dark horse. He's one of those archers that, when push comes to shove, he can perform.
He pushes back.
Exactly. Yeah. So Berlin World Championships last year, he wasn't expected to be on the podium, but then he had the greatest performance we've ever seen out of a Canadian archer, winning silver. It was really incredible to see. And now, again, the Olympics, making top. Now he's going to be at least 9th in his ranking. I wonder if you can be under the radar so much, talking about pressure, that the pressure's not really on him. If there's any pressure, it's internally, which allows him to then, kind of sneak his way into these tough matches.
I think if you're a great match play archer, but not that great of a qualifier, you can stay under the radar a little bit, because he ranked 36, and then people, they're not talking about you that much, because they look at the top 10, maybe top 16, like who is in there and who has a chance. And then if you're 36, nobody thinks about you that much. But if you're great at match play, it doesn't really matter where you rank, because if you can shoot 29th and 30s, you can beat number 1 from one of the rankings. So I think it's a clever way to stay under the radar.
It is. I mean, he beat Daraj Bamadavara from India, another one of our top favorites. I'm pretty sure he was like top 4 favorite. The advantage of flying under the radar is that, you do have to beat everyone at the end of the day, but you have one tough match slightly earlier on, and if you can make it.
It's almost like not at the end of the day, is it? If you get through that first match, now you're in a good bracket.
Exactly.
You've taken out the big gun already. And
smooth sailing after that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to see.
Not a tactic I'd necessarily
No.
But if you get through that first tough match, then it's
Yeah, I don't think anyone is going through the ranking round going, I'm going to take it a little bit easier because they're thinking that far ahead.
Yeah.
Of course, you want to shoot the best you can.
Obviously, yeah.
Who else is on the list, Simon, that's, a favorite in your eyes?
Certainly Marcus.
World ranked number one.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a good showing for the last 18 months. And Florian pops up,
Ooh, How come?
Well, he just seems to have that ability to surprise everyone, like bang, then in goes another one. Like
He won the. I think he won the.
He confounds me with the way he shoots. Like he doesn't have a traditional best practice technique. It's a bit of a left field method.
Yeah.
But he gets it to work for him, and I can't take my eyes off it when he's doing it. It's like, how does he turn that into tens? But he does. He does.
And I think he's quite skilled in these kinds of formats where every match is separate and it takes very long. I think he won the European Games as well. It's just this is different from all other tournaments because you're not on a line together, and every match has its own build-up. And you have to, after your quarterfinal or after your 1/8 final, you have to wait a long time before your the quarterfinal is only in the afternoon, and then it takes a while. And I think that takes a lot of experience and mental composure just to know how to work with your emotions and to work with your attention level, because you can't be at the top of your attention span the whole day. So, and I think he's, because of all his experience, he knows how to work with that and just switch on when the match is and then switch off when it's not necessary to, when he's at rest. So I think he's on in a good side of the bracket, and he obviously has some pretty tough competition as well with being with Brady and Kim Yeduk on that side. So, but I think he's up there as well with those guys. Yeah.
And then of course we've identified Kim Woo Jin, but his two teammates.
It's anyone's game, really.
Yeah.
And with everybody sort of looking at Woo Jin, it's not uncommon that one of his teammates makes a late surge and drills that centre
exactly
at just the right time. Yeah. So
we saw it in the World Cup too, wasn't it? Kim Woo Jin versus Liu Sak, and then Liu Sak ended up winning. I think this was in Yechon, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and so at the end of the day, these are some of the best archers in the world. You're shooting against your teammate, of course, who's ranked number one, but then you can really beat them. It's such few arrows, right?
Yes,
yeah. And was it the final where Liu Suk only shot 10s, or was it the same? I think Liu shot great in the team matches, and there was one match where he was the one who shot 10 average. So
it was Liu Suk who was shooting 10 after 10, holding that team together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in contrast, let's talk about Mete again, because it's a huge story. Can he do the impossible? Can he win back-to-back Olympics?
He might already did the impossible by winning this match if he came back from a 5-1, but never rule Matt out, because I've seen him a lot, and I saw him shooting his first two matches a couple of days ago. Never rule him out, because if he's shooting 10s, he doesn't stop shooting 10s. So
yeah.
It'd be interesting to know whether he's back to his normal timing, or whether we're still seeing that long.
He's a little slow.
Up till now, it's been a bit varied in this event. So, I'd be super interested to know whether today's match, whether his timing's back to more the metronome. And I mean, he always holds for a reasonable amount of time. It's not a fast shot, but it'd be
It was fast when he was 13 years old when I first saw him, really? And he won against one of the archers I was coaching, and he had like 3 10s on the board when mine was still struggling with his first arrow. So he was really fast when he was young, but kind of slowed down over the years.
Well, he's won in such dramatic fashion in this 1/8 round. What do you think that does to him going forward?
It's a challenge now to settle down because next match it's 0-0. It doesn't matter how you won your match. If it was with a 6-0 or was in dramatic fashion, it's 0-0 again. So you have to be able to close this match off. Luckily, only the next match is in the afternoon, so he has time enough to settle. but he'll be glad he's still in and just going for it. Yeah.
Well, we can't predict who's going to win right now.
No.
We can say it's going to be one of those 16 guys. So I would love for you to... I'm going to put you on the spot. Let's put it that way. I'm going to put you both on the spot. One person. Simon, you can go first. I love doing this to you.
Yeah,
so
it's
early in the
cruel.
morning.
It's so cruel. Kim Woo-jin.
Wow. Okay.
Well, if Simon is saying Kim Woo-jin, I'm not going to say Kim Woo-jin. I'm going to say on all that bracket on that side, I think Lee Woo-suk is going to surprise us all.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we're talking
Korea
about
So I've gone with
Dalmeida
the-
and
gone
Kim
with the
Woo-jin
obvious, you've gone with the opposite, yeah.
and
One of
Meta.
us
And
will be.
we're talking about those guys a lot, and I think Lee Woo-suk is going to walk away with it all.
Wow. Okay. You know, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say Mete. He's going to win back-to-back. He's going to somehow pull it together today and go all the way.
So he's got. Oh my God.
I think it's so Meta is going up against Kim Woo-jin or Dalmeida next, right? If they.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So one big match straight to another really big match.
Yeah. Well, guys, I think we should probably wrap this up because we could talk on forever about each person here. But thanks so much for being here with me. It's always such a joy to talk with you guys.
Likewise. Yeah.
Thanks. Everybody, thank you for joining us for yet another episode of Croissants. We love talking archery here, and what an honor it is to be talking archery at the Paris 2024 Olympics. We'll see you again next time.